최커스텀 웰뉴 라이프 프레스티지 의자와 함께하는 ASL 시즌
Hello and welcome to the opening day of the round of 24 here at the AfreecaTV StarLeague Season 17, brought to you in partnership with New Life Prestige Gaming Chairs. We are coming back with the 17th round of our competition, following the ZVP finals between Sulky and Mini last season. As we wonder what matches and surprises await us this time around, let's have a word with the 4 players of Group A ahead of today's kickoff of the round of 24. Hi guys! Let's start off with our top seed Light. Your elimination from last season in the round of 24 came as a big shock to many. You've probably said it yourself, but the pain of elimination drove you to new heights, as your record in recent matches is reaching a staggering 70% win rate. It would seem you've come to the studio with a great deal of confidence today. Confidence is one thing, but I'm still somewhat concerned because the round of 24 is all played out in best-of-1 matches. Nonetheless, I have a good feeling about today and should advance. A good feeling, you say. It's been a while since we've seen you in a studio setting, though. Are you excited about playing offline again? It's an exciting prospect to be playing in front of so many fans offline. Well, it's been a while since I've come to the studio, though this time the chairs we're using are the same make I have at home. The New Life chairs, that's correct. They are very comfortable, they make playing easy. I should do well. Well, we wouldn't expect anything less than perfect play from you in this optimal setting. Now, you'll have to forgive my somewhat unsympathetic observation, but after your championship run in Season 13, you dropped out in the round of 8 in Season 14, then round of 16 in Season 15, and round of 24 in Season 16. Your performance is showing a clear sign of decline. You're coming into this seemingly knowing that you can't lose again. Do you have any thoughts on that? I am determined to bounce back this season. I'm eager to see this unfold. Let's now have a word with Zealot, who's made it into the ASL for the first time since all the way back in Season 8. I've had a look at your history in ASL. You had a round of 24 run in Season 7, and then round of 16 in Season 8. Having made it back into the tournament proper, did you feel any difference on your way through the qualifiers? The qualifiers are always a challenge, though this time Lady the Luck was on my side, it seems. I'm back after a long 4.5 years. Those 4.5 years ago, I made it to the round of 16. I promised to have a good showing today again. Well, looking at things objectively, you're not really a household name in the ASL. However, people seem to hold you in high regard because of the impact you made on Season 8, where you beat both Snow and Jaedong in your opening group, and advanced in first place. Do you think you could have a similar impact on today as well?
기대해도 좋을지 하는 생각이 들거든요.
근데 이제 아무래도 지금 재호 형이나 저희 조
In any case, the players in my group, I mean Light and Bisu, they are very storied names with a lot of force behind them. Well, of course, C is also practicing League of Legends very diligently. Hey, hang on a minute, C seems somewhat displeased with you brushing him off. Okay, we'll have a word with C too, let's keep going. Okay, well, these guys are formidable opponents, so I don't know if I can deliver as big of an impact as I did last time, but I'll try my best nonetheless. Well, looking forward to it. Let's now turn to Bisu. You made an early exit last season, losing to Ample in the round of 16. Your path through the qualifiers wasn't easy this time either, losing to Sark in the first round of qualifiers. You got in through the second day. Regardless, you've been showing a great deal of confidence on your personal stream. What is the reason behind that confidence? Well, C isn't practicing at all. He just plays other games. So I didn't really worry much. Now, in all honesty, I think Zealot is a scarier opponent than C. I'm not sure what more to say other than that I'm a little worried. Well, as you've just said, there's easier opponents in Group A today as well as slightly more worrying foes. If you do indeed succeed in the opening game against C, who would you rather face in the winners bout? Light or Zealot?
오히려 저는 제호가 더 힘들 것 아니 더 쉬울 것 같아요.
오.
서문준 선수 뭔가 뭘 할지
Light
몰라가지고.
should be easier to beat.
제호를 한번 제가
I honestly don't know what to expect from Zealot. Like, I've already beaten Light once in the round of 24,
이겨가지고 올라가겠습니다.
but if I win the first game, I'll probably advance. Interesting. The lowest seed in Group A, Zealot, is receiving quite a lot of praise from the remaining players. Last but not least, let's now turn to C. You made it back into ASL last season where, unfortunately, you did get knocked out in the round of 24 by Sulky. Now, looking at the brackets, you said yourself, this group looks difficult, but you're all fired up. Still, just as Bisu mentioned, you don't seem to be going into this having done much prep work.
이 부분에 대한 연보성 선수의 생각 좀 들어볼까요?
정확히 보셨어요.
Can you elaborate on what that might mean?
잃을 게 없기 때문에 또
What's there
편한
to
마음으로
say?
저번에는 또 오랜만에 와서 너무 긴장을 했어요.
But
제가.
regardless, I'm not worried today.
긴장감이
Last time I had made it into the ASL after a long break, so I was very nervous. I'm not really feeling that anxious today, so I'll just play comfortably as if I was playing from home.
일단 김태경, 이재호는
What
진짜
makes you say
잘하고
this is a difficult group?
서문지우는 제가 봤을 때
Well,
저한테
Bisu and Light are just doing super well.
정말로 그렇기
Well,
때문에
Zealot is my
그
personal
중에서 제일
J-Dog,
피하고
for
싶었는데
real.
딱
Like the one
붙이더라고요.
Zerg I
아,
wanted to
이거는 쉽지
avoid,
않겠다.
and I get him in my group.
그래서 되게 죽음의 조 같은.
Well, that's why I thought this wouldn't be a stroll in the
오늘 첫
park.
경기 상대가 김태경 선수인데
네.
전적으로만 봤을
Your first
때
opponent today is
연보성
Bisu.
선수가 우세한
Looking at the
기회를
big
가지고
picture,
있습니다.
태용 씨 같은
You
경우는
actually
좀
have a
약간
great
좀 편하신 것 같은데
3-1
서로는
record against
긴장하고
him.
있을 거라 생각을 해요.
Oh, he's just putting on a
그래서
brave face. He's
ASL에서
so
안
worried.
좋은 추억이 많기
그러니까요.
Yeah, he has bad
오늘 약간
memories
그쪽
surrounding our games in ASL. I have to make him remember that today.
갑자기 연보성 선수가 자신감이 확 올라온 듯한 대답을 해주셨는데
Well, look at you getting so bold of a sudden.
지난 전적입니다.
Well, you do have a good record against him, but it was a long time ago, wasn't it?
하지만
Yeah, what,
하지만
7 years ago?
네, 보여드리도록
Yeah.
하겠습니다.
But I'll see what I can do.
전적에 대해서 한 말씀 해주실까요?
저도 지금
Bisu,
8년 전인데
do you have anything to add?
저도 누군기를
Well, fair enough.
있어가지고 좀
Fair enough, he beat me.
보성이한테
It was like
이겨야
8 years
되는데
ago.
보성이는 솔직히
The
올라오고
reason I
싶지
have to
않아요.
beat C is because C doesn't actually want to advance.
보세요. 올라가면
What?
무조건 이겨야 될 것 같아요. 그래서
아 좋습니다. 신경전이
Well, I gotta win. I gotta win since Bisu.
여태까지라면 이제는 에스크 ASL을
Oh, we're having a grand time today, aren't we? Up until now, we would have the fans send in questions for the Ask ASL segment, but we'll do things a bit different this time. We've put together a topic of discussion for each group and we'll see how that goes. For Group A, we will first focus on highlight points for each player, and for Light, that means, can he overcome the pain of early elimination last season? Well, I'm sorry to be bringing this up over and over, Light, but looking at your pedigree as a player, it's hard to believe you would get knocked out in the round of 24. And that's why going into this season, it's something to bear in mind. Are you feeling vexed at all? I'm not really feeling particularly pressured. I've always had a difficult time in the round of 24. Whenever I lost, it was probably as a result of pride. So my mindset going into today is that I expect this group to be difficult. I've put pride aside, and will put as much effort as I can into every game. And that's why I'll advance. Well, it's good to hear you're determined to give your best. Let's now turn to Bisu again. Being in the top 3 overall win rate rankings for ASL, you've promised to make a timely and clean exit with 2 victories. But you indeed are in the top 3 win rates for versus Terran, versus Protoss, and versus Zerg. You are painting a very pretty picture of a well-rounded player. Now, during your streams, you've promised to advance with a clean 2-0 today. Are you still confident you can deliver on that promise? If I win the first game, that shouldn't be a problem. To be honest, I didn't remember that Light got knocked out in the round of 24 last season. So I want to make good on my promise. Well, it seems Bisu has set his sights on Light. Let's now have a look at the highlight point for C. Can the champion pedigree help C defy the expectation of an early elimination? A champion pedigree? I haven't won anything. What? I haven't won anything, dude. Well, you've shaken things up before in the ASL, so maybe that's what the people were thinking of. Nonetheless, it seems a lot of people are finding it difficult to believe that you can make it into the round of 16. You might need to reassure those people. Is that something you
제가
can
이제
do?
16강
Can you make
올라갈
it into the round of
자신이요?
16?
좀 거짓말하는 것 같아서.
You mean my confidence to advance to the round of 16? It's all boulder dash.
저번에 커맨더
No,
취소를
in the
제가 한
past,
적이 있어요. 경기력이 되게 안
in the past,
좋았는데
I did
오늘은
once
그래도
cancel my
저번보다
CC by
나은
mistake, so that wasn't good.
잘 되면
But
올라갈 수
providing
있을
no
것 같아요.
mishaps like that happen, I should
보여드리도록
show
하겠습니다.
better games today. If
마지막
things go well, I
서문지훈
might
선수와 이야기
advance.
나눠보겠습니다.
All right.
타짜 서문지훈.
Well,
기습
Zealot
공격 변수 보여줄까?
is the
네,
all-inning
내용입니다.
gambler
서문지훈
nature going to
선수하면
show today.
기습적인 변수 창출, 또 이런 공격적인 모습을 많이
In the
보여준
past,
선수로 많은
you've
분들에게
relied a lot on
알려져
surprise
있는데요.
attacks and
그만큼
tactics,
오늘도
which is
좀
how
예측
people remember
프로의
you.
빌드를 좀 보여주실 수 있을지
Do you have any
기대하고
cool
계신 것
builds
같아요.
along those lines prepared for
사실
today
이제 많은
as
사람들이
well?
제가 이제 변수가 많은 플레이를
Well,
선호한다는 걸
in all
알고
honesty,
있어서
people do think of me
그거에
as
대한
somebody who
맞춤
likes to switch
플레이를
things up a lot.
네, 염두를 하고
So I
이제
need to
게임을
bear that
하기
in mind
때문에
whenever I play, and I think it's an advantage for me.
보셔도 좋을 것 같습니다.
나의 빌드를 예측한다면 나는 더 한 수 앞을 내다보고 준비하겠다.
Well, if people expect
네네.
me to do one thing, I'll take it a step further. Okay.
앞두고 있는 4명의 선수와 이야기
Well, that
나눠봤는데요.
concludes our interview with the 4 players of Group A ahead of today's matches. Everyone seems determined about advancing.
이재호 선수.
Let's just have some closing remarks from the players.
올라가서 이번
Like,
시즌은 좀 결승까지 다시
I will advance today, and this
우승까지
season,
노려보도록
I am
하겠습니다.
determined to make it another championship run.
저도 이제
Okay.
16강
Bisu.
만약에 올라가면 8강 이상까지 한번 올라가고 싶어요.
Well, the round of 16 is one thing, but my goal
하겠습니다.
is to make it past the round of 8.
선수.
I'll do what I can to make that happen.
뭐 16강을
Zealot?
진출하지 못하더라도 꼭 한 명만
Even if I don't advance to the round of 16, there is one player I'd like to beat today.
갑자기 연무성 선수가 먼 하늘을
What?
지켜보고
알죠.
계시는데
See,
연무성
what does he
선수,
mean by that?
저도
네.
못 올라가더라도 서문지훈한테는 꼭 이기고
Likewise, even if I don't
좋습니다.
advance,
두 선수가 과연 어떤
I have to beat
경기에서
Zealot
맞붙을
at
수
least.
있을지 지켜보도록 하겠습니다.
well, I think
먼
we've
생각을
found our
기대하겠습니다.
main
여러분
event for the
감사합니다.
evening.
고맙습니다.
I'm looking forward to seeing some great StarCraft.
네,
Thanks for the interview.
웰뉴라이프 프레스티지 의자와 함께하는 ASL 시즌
You're watching ASL 17, brought to you in part by Well New Live Prestige Gaming Chairs. Ahead of today's kickoff of the round of 24, we are in for a treat as our players are sure to deliver. Let's get things going.
궁극의 커스텀 밸류 라이프 프레스티지
Everybody, we are so happy to be back here with ASL. Another season. This is season 17. For Tastosis, it feels like it's been too long.
It
certainly does, Tastosis. And it feels like they sent us the wrong VOD and we have the caster, Korean casters over us. I'm going to go ahead and mute during this part. That is going to be a little bit of a problem. But anyways, guys, welcome back to ASL. This is the first day of the new season, so very excited by this. Happy to be back, and yeah, I'm hoping that this season is going to be as good as it looks on paper.
It's exciting. We've got a lot of great players that we've had here forever. We've got some new faces some of you may not be so familiar with, one of them playing here today. And of course, Queen did not manage to qualify for the season of ASL. Flash not back as well, but things still looking very exciting.
Yeah. This is overall, Queen is the only active player that's missing right now. That's like really impressive. Normally we have more upsets than that. But yeah, that's not the case this time. It's just like everyone made it in except for Queen, which was a hilarious thing. He lost to like someone that's like 2100 MMR on the ladder, and he's, you know, if you're an ASL champion, you're like 3000 MMR. So that was a huge upset. It's going to be sad to not have him here, but other than that, man, we've got everybody.
Yeah, you know, StarCraft's been in a great place. You could see the studio over in Jamshil is packed. And we're going to be banging out these VODs as quick as possible for you guys to get them to you. I don't know, man. You know, it's always a little bit weird when we go for a long period of time without casting ASL. Obviously, both you and I have been playing. We've been streaming the game a bunch. But, you know, for you and me, it's a lot of fun to kind of sit here and cast these games and also try to steal the strategies and get a full update on what the meta and all the maps and all the matchups are.
Yeah, it is really fun, especially considering the ladder generally mirrors what's in ASL nowadays. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how to play some of these new maps through the pros eyes and seeing like how the map balance will actually go. Will it go like I think, or have the pros really figured out different ways to play?
Yeah, you could not be more correct. That this tournament impacts the way that everybody plays online to an insane degree. What's funny is we have one day off. They do this recording, and then about 24 hours later, you and I do our recording on top of it. But if I queue up a ladder game within this period of time, so often the stuff I experience people doing against me online is what I end up casting that evening in the VOD.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that is a funny thing. It's like by watching ASL, you actually have a strategic leg up because the pros will have some things figured out that they have not shown yet because this is the most important, most prestigious tournament in the entire world. So right now we are in that round of 24, guys, and it's going to be best of ones, which does add a bit of volatility, but we will get into some best of threes in the round of 16. But yeah, 5 best of ones here today, and an exciting group as well.
Yeah, of course, I'm really thrilled to be having Bisu play here today. I want to see, can Bisu actually come back and be the god that he once was? He's looked really strong, but he hasn't made the deep runs that we would have expected, I would say, over the last, 16 seasons of ASL. He's gotten close, but not that far.
I would say, honestly, right now, Tasteless, in comparison to everyone else, Bisu is in better shape than he has been since maybe Season 2 or so.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah, he's in fantastic shape. He's been killing it in, the KCM Race Survival Series. He's been doing it very well in pro leagues and everything. So this could be a great day for him, but this is a dangerous first group for best of ones.
For sure. Well, best of ones are always a little bit painful, right? You want to try to graduate to that point of the tournament where you have a little bit of room strategically, to try to get creative and not be punished because one game went south. By the way, we've got 4 new maps here, Blitzy, Radion, Citadel, and Troy. I really welcome these new maps. I think especially this lineup of new maps is better than a lot of the other new maps we've had before. We've got some cool ideas. They're a little bit out there, but I think they're more in the realm of playable, of for pros, playable for newbies and people trying to pick up the game. Years past in ASL, we had a couple times where I think we maybe got a little bit experimental, and that's okay. But I really like these maps because a lot of these maps we could probably keep in the ladder queue for a couple more years here. What do you think, Artosis?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying them, except for Troy. But we'll talk more about those maps as we get to them. Our round of 24 players, as you can see, fewer Protoss than Zerg and Terran. But really, we've got everyone who's anyone for Protoss. It's the best of the best. And then you look at the other races, and it's like, okay, the best of the best, but also some up-and-comers.
Yeah, I think we're going to flesh out a lot of these Terrans as we go from the round of 24 to the round of 16 and probably even to the round of 8. So cool to have a lot of Terran players in the tournament. We're going to have a lot of fun games to cast from them. Certainly players that are legendary here that we all know, but a couple players that are pretty new, pretty up and comer. But I do imagine that although it's disproportionately high numbers of Terran players, that will probably fade out.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I mean, you got to look towards the best of each race as the ones most likely moving forward. Now, taking a look at today's group, Light, Bisu, C, and Zealot. This is a hard one to predict because, again, it's best of one. Zealot is really good right now, and he's so aggressive. I feel like the best of one format almost favors him. It's hard to stop the things Zealot does because he is probably the most aggressive pro gamer that there is, other than maybe 815, who does like 4-pool every third game.
Yeah, who does a lot of very old school cheeses. ZeLoT, he's been very active on the ladder. I've actually casted several of his games on my YouTube. And I got to say, he looks really good.
Yeah.
So, I think we get a lot of people that they follow StarCraft 1 exclusively through the ASL. It might not be familiar with, these guys that are really grinding it out. Some of them not even really streaming. But I can definitely tell you he is very active. He's looking very good. But what a great match we get to start this off with, Artosis. It's going to be Light versus Bisu.
Oh, man. Well, actually, I think it's Light versus Zealot first. Because
I'm insane. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that would be a little bit
I was reading the
unfair.
graphic incorrectly.
Yeah.
Well, that would make more sense. Excuse me.
Yeah, Light's a #1 seed. Bisu's a #2 seed. They did place these groups by seeds. But, Yeah, Light is, in my opinion, as long as Flash is retired, this is like the best player in the world. Although, to be honest, Snow is making me reconsider with how well he's playing recently. But Light is fantastic. He's definitely the strongest Terran. And I do expect him to get out of this group. But this man here, ZeLoT, he is incredibly strong. Okay, well, this win rate, 0-5 against Terran, yeah, that looks rough, but he's still an up-and-coming player. He's always at the top of the ladder. He has more games played than almost anybody. And he's actually the best in the world at several builds, including things like the Guardian Rush.
Yeah, he's got a really cool kind of modern take. This guy's been around for a long time. I guess the truth is when you talk about StarCraft 1, everybody's kind of been around for a long time. There's not somebody who's been playing for like 2 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, some up-and-comers have been playing for 7-8 years. Like, that is what an up-and-comer is in Brood War right now. Like, oh, this guy hasn't played for 15 years yet. So, like, he's still trying to break into those pro ranks, really.
Yeah, exactly. Our map is going to be Radion. What is your take on the matchup on this map, Artosis? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, so Radion is like a pretty standard map. It's got some interesting things like that 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock expansion. We normally don't have things that look like that because there are not corresponding expansions at 3 and 9. So whether you spawn horizontally, vertically, or cross spawn, it's giving you extremely different games because of those bases. And I gotta tell you, overall, I'm kind of liking the map. I do feel like it's just a little bit hard for Terran because it is so wide open in that center, but it's definitely very playable.
All right, we're about to get into this match. Obviously, Light has so much experience. He's so clutch. Truly one of the greatest players to ever touch the game. ZeLoT is looking good online, but this is a different beast when you're in the studio like this. When there's all these people lined up in chairs watching you, when you know that all of Korea is tuned in, all the foreign fans are watching now. So I want to see how Zealot's going to perform here. Is he going to have some good execution? Is he going to look okay? Because this could not be a bigger, scarier opponent. There could not be a better opponent to go up against. This is a true challenge for him.
Yeah. If ZeLoT can beat Light here, that is a huge statement for him because Light is and has been, like, even when Flash was completely active, we were still saying Light is just as good at Terran vs. Zerg as Flash. He is mechanically completely sound. He plays SK Terran almost every game, and he does it fantastically. So it is going to be a hard one for ZeLoT no matter what, but this guy has been training for this opportunity.
Yep, and it's all going to start right now. We're going to go into game number 1 here, the very first game of ASL Season 17, Light versus ZeLoT. Let's do this. Okay, we've got Light here in the top left. That's going to give us ZeLoT here on the top right. Real quick, we want to update everybody who's been following ASL over the past seasons. In the last season, we modified the way that we produce this show.
Yes.
And the goal of that is to get it out to you guys as fast as possible. The only thing that could slow us down at this point in time for this season is if one of us physically couldn't be there. But before, we were having subtitles built in. We were getting all the graphics translated. And I know that some of you guys like that. For me personally, I like the way that feels and looks. But the truth is there were too many steps in the process that allowed the release of each episode to get slowed down. So what we've done now is we have Ziggy do the live translations, Dan stitches the audio together, and we get it right back to AfreecaTV. So that's why this is looking different than previous seasons.
Yeah. So last season we did do that change about halfway through. And so this is like this whole entire season, we're trying to get it out as quickly as we possibly humanly can. And of course, if there are any things like sound balancing and whatnot, please do leave some comments. Let me know specifically, since I'm kind of doing the production aspect here. And yeah, we'll get it fixed right away.
Yeah, and so we just want to let you guys know, in case you're wondering, the majority of the feedback has been that it's better to just get it out more quickly. while still having the interviews translated. So that's what we're going for, just so you guys know.
Yep.
And now we can actually jump into this game.
Yeah. All right. So they are horizontal spawns. That's going to make Mutalisk Harassment a lot stronger for ZeLoT because it's a very short travel distance, and his mutas will naturally rally into a place they can't be hit on the way, nor when they're waiting to be tagged in. And Light going for just a nice little wall in there. It does have holes and everything, but that type of wall will make it so that if you make a reasonable amount of Marines, you don't really need a bunker or anything like that, and that'll help him to optimize his build a bit more.
It does feel like you're awfully close together here if you're both sharing the top. The very center expansion at 12 o'clock, just a little bit below the actual top of the map, doesn't seem like it's necessarily a good spot to take. I don't know if either side's really interested in that. But do you feel like there's pressure play? Obviously, Mutas can hit early, but I mean, could Terran try to do some kind of a timing push? Or we already see Marines moving out on the map now.
Well, there's always things like the Turax Academy push. I gotta say, I don't know if that's something that... Well, he's got a wall, so it kind of will work. And you see he's rallying some Marines right now. He's just checking to see, are you making the 4 lings that you should make? And there they are. And as he sees those, he'll turn those Marines around. Not really able to do very much against that. And look at that. Even a creep colony going up. Isn't that interesting? And now 6 lings out. So... yeah, I mean, this play looks really weird. Okay, he actually canceled out that creep colony.
Yeah.
So I think maybe his overlord saw the Marines and he was just playing super safe there for a moment. But yeah, I don't think that Light can really put any heavy pressure on and it doesn't look like he's going for a Turax Academy. He's gotten his gas before the Sangrex. Oh God, and he's going for a Hydralisk Den?
That's crazy. So he is going to completely avoid a normal game. This is a very cheesy approach. If you ever see 2 hatcheries with a layer and a Hydra Den, that's going to be a Ling Lurker bust. Hey, man, this kind of makes sense. I mean, they are very close by land. I do think that if you were to take all the aspects of TVZ and measure each of these players out, Light is a better player. Oh, my God. Is this SCV going to be able to scout? He's got 2 drones at the ramp.
Yeah.
We probably can't get in there.
When you see those 2 drones, immediately you're thinking, wait a minute. What's up there?
What
What's
is
up
going
there?
on here? He did make the second extractor, which he doesn't need for this build. Probably just so that, the optics of a Muta Rush are there.
Yeah, if he...
So now we're...
if he keeps the second extractor... that can only mean 2 things. Number one, it's super heavy lurker, so he's trying to blow up the bunkers despite being repaired. Or it could actually be the drop upgrade. You can You can do drops here. He doesn't really have an Overlord in great position for that right now, but, I mean, let's see. He did get the Sanga gas. He is mining from it.
I'm not as familiar with the drop play. That's interesting you said that. I mean, I'm aware, obviously, anytime you get a layer, you could get drop. I'm more used to the kind of Booga Booga Zergling Lurker bust that I think we've all seen in TVZ. He does scan, and you know what's funny? He scans and sees that the drones are still mining gas. Now, again, he didn't see Hydras, so this could still maybe look like Mutas, actually. Oh, okay, he gets the second scan out. Now, keep in mind, he just burned through his 2 scans.
Yes.
He does not have a bunker right now. He does not have turrets to detect. I mean, I'm getting a little worried here. Light.
This is worrisome. He's got to move his Marine Medic out front because he has to slow the lurkers. Yeah, exactly as you said. There's no detection. It looks like he's already started range, which is incredibly important. Lurkers outrange Marines and bunkers unless they have the range upgrade. So you need to get that. A ton of lurkers getting ready to come in here.
Okay, he's moving in. Now, the Marines are intentionally kept a little bit far out so he can kind of stagger walk back, basically making the lurkers fight for every foot of territory as they advance. 2 bunkers are done. Turret is just now finishing. So the question is, can he maybe use drop play if that's what's going to be coming here to go inside the main? Because I don't know that he can actually break this position.
Well, I think his plan is the mass lurker. If you look at how many Hydras he's making, if you run up with 10 lurkers, you one-shot all the SCVs on the bunker, and then it's 2 or 3 shots to kill the bunker total. And, you know, things just start to explode. You can see that Light has realized what's going on. He sees that there is a second gas. Like, he already saw that. He sees a ton of lurkers. And, dude, the way the Overlords are moving forward, I think it might be drop as well.
Yeah, or maybe he wants to make it look like it's drop. That's also possible, too. If you could even just get a couple of Marines to go back in the main. Okay, speed is done. So there is definitely going to be drops inbound here. You would never get speed without also getting drop. This is wild, man. There's 5 bunkers. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What about the main? Oh, now these aren't actually filled.
Oh, my God. He's trying to fake him. And look at this.
Empty.
He unloads the Marines. He's stimming towards that main base. And, dude, here comes the push. Amazing play here from ZeLoT. Now, there are a ton of bunkers, so maybe Light just holds this anyways. That Firebat being worth its weight in gold. The Lurkers having a hard time against 5 bunkers, though.
Wow. Yeah, not often you see a Firebat firing from a bunker and hitting Lurkers, but I guess we've seen it all here. It would seem like mathematically you couldn't have gotten both drop and Overlord speed. Maybe you could. I'm not totally clear on this, but that could have also been a tell that they came in that fast. At this point in time, I think Light is probably feeling extremely confident. You know, there's no third base for ZeLoT. There's no third hatchery at all. Like, not even a macro hatch, man.
Yeah, this is very rough for ZeLoT, but you know, he has a lot of lurkers out in the front. He lost a lot, unfortunately, and it does look like he's just rushing right now towards Defiler to try to finish this push off. And if he does get a Dark Storm in that natural, you know, that's the most surefire way to end a Terran versus Zerg game, right? Is you get the Dark Storm down in the nat, and Terran has to wait forever to clear that.
Right, he's going to have to just lean into that aggression. +1 is done over here. That Hive, I mean, it's a rough game here. I like the Wraith, by the way. That didn't even occur to me that he could do that. But yeah, I guess if you're going that hard into just Ling Lurker, the Wraith can really drive these Overlords back. He's going to have to use a slow Hydralisk, try to fight and defend these Overlords. But, you know, the reality is the most important part of this game already happened. The Lurker bust, excuse me, didn't work. And so now it's just going to be a matter of Light continuing on with development and either ZeLoT forcing a win with Dark Swarm or getting overpowered here by a standard healthy Terran push.
Well, it's really just going to come down to the Defiler and the running around of ZeLoT, because Light sees everything that's going on. This is why you make the Wraith, is you can chase away Overlords, you can scout the entire map, because you need those scans, right? Like, you need those to be able to push the Lurkers back. Now, he does have a couple Siege Tanks. There are a lot of Lurkers and Lings here. So as soon as that Science Vessel is out, he needs to push this back. You cannot let a Dark Swarm go up near your base.
Yeah, he's got a lot of bio here. The tanks, they do outrange Lurkers if the Lurkers are burrowed. So we can see the Zerg just shuffling these Lurkers back a little bit. More Overlords are going to come in over here. He could have, by the way, gotten dropped later on. You could, if this big push comes out, try to do something like that. Again, I feel like this game is almost finished, though.
Yeah, this is looking really, really terrible. The Wraith actually doing a lot as well, and he's going to kill every Lurker here. Fantastically done by Light. GG is called. And that, you know, not a bad idea from ZeLoT. He really tries to bring something new that he's not as known for, but Light just knows every situation.
Yeah, he handled that really, really well. The 5 bunkers on the low ground, even a 6th bunker on the high ground above his ramp. It looks a little silly, right? But really, that's all you have to do. The Zerg is trying to take this one moment and snowball the damage down there. And if you just keep having bunkers you can collapse back into, you're never going to be able to take that position. And so game 1 in this best of 1 goes to Light.
Yeah, and that, of course, drops ZeLoT down to that losers match. Light will await the winner of Bisu and C. Everything kind of going as expected thus far. I do feel for ZeLoT, though. What a tough first round. Probably the worst opponent he could get here.
Yeah, basically the most robust, solid Terran in ASL. Like, if I was a Zerg, the last guy I'd want to fight is Light. He doesn't seem to have any obvious weaknesses. He can kind of do the same build against you every time and probably not lose a game. a player that doesn't have to rely on tricks or deception, just good scouting, good fundamentals. But in some ways, I think the hard part of this group is over right now for ZeLoT as well. I thought he looked pretty good, by the way. Didn't seem jittery, didn't seem nervous, wasn't making any real mistakes. He actually did a really good 2-base lurker all-in into Defiler. He's just doing it against the best Terran we have right now in StarCraft.
Yeah, it was a tough situation. You're not giving yourself a lot of outs there. Your push has to work. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, Bisu versus C.
Till I found you. I'm going mad cause you just left for the week. What did I ever do without us? You're thinking about it is a dangerous thing. Feels like it's about time to make you mine. Yeah, you're my type, your design's divine, and there's no way around it. You can take all my money, don't think I'll need it when I'm cashing your loving. Don't need to think about buying something other than what you give. Pure bliss never felt like. Keep thinking of me, don't ever fall away from the path that you're running. Don't need to worry about losing all the movies we never miss. Pure bliss never felt like this. Pure bliss never felt like. I wasn't used to taking chances. With you I never really had a choice. Thinking of you became a habit, nah, nah, nah. One that I never really wanna give up. Feels like it's about time to make you mine. Oh, nah, nah, you're my type, your design's divine, and there's no way around it. You can take all my money, don't think I need it when I cash in your loving. Don't need to think about buying something other than what you give. Pure bliss never felt like. Keep thinking of me, don't ever fall away from the path that you're running. Don't need to worry about losing all the movies we never miss. Pure bliss never felt like this. Like this, like this. Pure bliss never felt like this. Like this, like this. Pure bliss never felt like.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. We are going to go into game 2 in Group A. What am I talking about here? This is going to be Steve versus Bisu. It's going to be a fun one. I think Bisu in great form right now. C, look, he's at times been a phenomenal godlike Terran. I always think back to the very early days of ASL. Obviously still a huge streamer, as is Bisu, but I think Bisu's just, frankly, a lot stronger now.
Yeah, there's no question that Bisu is a stronger player than C. C did make it in last season, and those were probably the worst games of the season that we saw. But I think he is in much better shape than last season. He actually had to go through a bracket to get into this ASL that was pretty challenging, and I was pretty impressed with. Whereas last season it was like, okay, this is the weakest bracket literally there's ever been. So, you know, I'm hoping that we can see some better play from him out of him here.
Yeah, fingers crossed here. I mean, a best of one is brutal. It did seem like C was relying on gotcha builds. And look, I mean, honestly, it's not a bad way to play a best of one if you're not sure if you're going to win or not. You know, do the high risk, high reward build. But I think Bisu's just so well rounded at this point in time. He still plays like the old Bisu too. Not always doing the most hyper modern stuff, but just good at what he knows.
Yeah.
And I'm pumped to go into this one, man.
Well, I'm even more pumped now. One of my favorite songs being played for Bisu here. Who knew I could like a Protoss player this much? My God. But yeah, like we've been talking about, Bisu's in really, really good shape right now. Like if you look at like the old gods of, you know, Bisu and Stork and Jaedong, I would say that Bisu's in the best shape out of everyone right now.
Yeah, 100% agree. Jaedong looks really scary, but the reality is Bisu seem to be a tier ahead of everybody else. And we've had a lot of new players dominate in the last couple ASLs. I mean, it's really been a lot of great new Terrans. We've seen these incredible runs from Mini. Sulky finally wins an ASL. We were wondering when that was going to happen. It felt like it was long overdue. But, yeah, I mean, it's cool when you get a player. There's something about that era, by the way. It seems like it's really like the golden era of Brood War, even though I think Brood War is in an amazing state. Maybe it's the nostalgia.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the age you and I were watching those games before we you know, got into this business professionally. That it sticks with me, right? The Bisu Jaedong era is really something else.
Yeah, I think it was actually probably the most fun, exciting era that there was. And I mean, we could get that again, honestly. These guys are in great shape. We're going to see exactly how he's looking here today on Radeon, going up against C. We're just about ready for match number 2.
Okay, we've got both players hugging the top of the map again. Bisu in the top right and C in the top left.
Yeah.
Before we...
Oh, go ahead, Tastosis.
Sorry. I was just going to say, guys, real quick here. If you love ASL, if you love Artosis and me, you love StarCraft, a great way to support our mission here is to go to the Patreon. Patreon.com/ASL English. We would not be able to do this without you guys. So if you're in a position financially where you can support us, we would love you for it.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, to everyone who has been supporting now for years on ASL. It feels so great to know that we get like these 2 amazing seasons. The production still off the hook. The players are like playing as hard as ever, honestly. Like these guys are all grinding. They stream a lot. They're playing all the tournaments, and this is the king amongst all the tournaments.
Yeah, so the support's appreciated, guys. We love you guys. This matchup with Bisu versus C, I mean, I can't imagine C winning here in like a macro game.
Yeah.
You know, taking a late third base and powering up. I don't think there's any one specific thing Bisu needs to do or prepare for. I think he just has to play a solid game, and he should come out on top.
Yeah. One thing going in C's favor would be that it is horizontal spawns. The one thing that I have really noticed for this map is if you play Terran vs. Protoss against a cross-spawn Protoss, the center is so open, it's almost impossible to push. There's like 4 tiny doodads in the center. Normally we don't have maps this open, This map, I think, is reminding a lot of people of Circuit Breakers because of how open it is, the tile set, the horizontal mains facing each other, right? So it kind of does play like that, where you get to the center of the map and it's hard. But here, C could possibly do like a push that kind of hugs the top, you know, maybe take that 12 o'clock base on the way, and that does open up some better opportunities for C to maybe be able to fight Bisu here if he has like a very strong timing push.
We were talking a little bit before this game started about the golden era of, like as we call it, of StarCraft, where, you know, you had Bisu and Jaedong on top. One thing that's interesting, people might not realize, but like the name power, the brand recognition that Bisu or Jaedong has is so powerful. Like, one of the best things that could happen for ASL is if we got one of those guys in the finals.
Oh, yes.
We would probably get our viewership way higher than ever.
Yes, 100%.
It's wild. Like, when I'll give you guys an example too. We had in StarCraft 2 way back a BlizzCon finals, World Finals. It was SOS versus Jaedong, and like everybody knew, okay, if Jaedong wins, this is going to be so good for StarCraft 2 because of the sheer brand power he has. Because he's such a big deal, he's so beloved. Obviously, SOS did win that, but it's kind of the same thing here with StarCraft 1. If we could ever get a finals like with Bisu and Jaedong, or Bisu versus Jaedong, it would probably be the most watched thing in StarCraft that we've had in years and years.
You're definitely right about that. And that would be beyond hype. Speaking of hype, though, we have a proxy robo build here against a gasless expansion from C. This is really strong, and if you don't know what's coming, man, you might be in some trouble. Like, you have to play very carefully here. Oh my god, he's going to scout it Tasteless. Oh.
Great scout. This is a lot easier to manage if you scout it. And that's a really early scout. Like, the robo's halfway done. You know, you're far along enough that it's uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And canceling's not really an option. So there's two variations of this build that Protoss can do. One is where they push the Reaver onto the low ground and blow up the bunker. The other is you get a shuttle and start to do, you ferry units into the main.
Yeah.
You get a Reaver just slightly later.
Yeah. Either way, the counter is the same for Terran. You have to get missile turrets, you have to make more Marines, and you have to get siege mode. That is basically it. You are scrambling to defend. You do need a second bunker at your natural because you're not going to have siege mode in time to save your first bunker. Right. So 100% we're going to have to see another bunker there. And notice how he's put Marines in the main. The Marines are in the main in case he gets that shuttle. If you start shuttling goons up there, you're going to lose if you don't have extra Marines there to fight them off.
Yeah. We don't see the Reaver out. We don't see the shuttle out. I think it's going to be a slow push with the Reaver. He does not have that second bunker, Artosis.
No, he does not have that yet.
It's making me a little bit more worried.
Yeah.
Now, if he can get okay, there is a shuttle first. All right. So that means we have a little bit of downtime before that Reaver can come. I think that C actually can hold this, man.
Yes. This looks really good for him so far. He has, like, the perfect counter against it. He put out the 2 missile turrets immediately. He has a lot of Marines in his main. He's already working on siege mode. And like you said, this is a little bit slower Reaver because he wanted to get that shuttle. So suddenly, Bisu has put all of his eggs in this, like, one base all-in basket. And I tell you what, if he does not deal some significant damage, it is hard for me to believe that C cannot kill him with, like, a 5-fact timing follow-up.
Yeah, you cut a lot of probes when you do this. So he's got the shuttle. It's 3 Zealots on the low ground here. That's a lot of damage, but I think with the Scarab firing here, it should be just enough to tip the scale in his favor. He's going to go right towards the ramp. Use the C has done a really good job of splitting his Marines, but he should have had these Marines on the high ground here to protect this tank.
Well,
if you have one turret covering this and they can't get there, you're probably going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, this is the most, like, disgusting greed from C. You and I were both talking about he needs a second bunker. He doesn't get broken if he has a second bunker. Simple as that. Yeah. 100% he holds. And instead, Bisu is getting so far ahead. That's it, GG. Now, that is one of the most outrageous incidents, I would say, of a player trying to cut corners. You're literally playing a one base all in. You have the fastest expansion that Terran can get. If you spend 100 minerals on a second bunker, the gateway units don't do anything, and you win the game.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You just need one more turret by the tanks on the high ground, one more bunker.
Yep.
The Protoss will lose.
Yes.
I did learn something back there, though. It's interesting to see that he makes that many Zealots. I think he had no Dragoon range there. I think it's like 3 Dragoons, and then the rest is just Zealots. You can see, he's embarrassed. He knows, basically try to do a win more move.
Yeah.
Games like that really come down to a matter of, can you just not die within this 1 minute window?
Yeah.
Because you're going to have, you probably already have 30, 40% more workers than them. You already have your second base up, obviously. You just have to hold this position. And the fact that he was that, I don't know, overconfident. In my own experience, I've had my moments where I think, okay, I don't want to over-defend because then I'm going to be behind later, but that was not that moment there, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, he scouted. The thing is, it wasn't just a proxy robo. There was another gateway. So that, like, really gives it away. It's not just a Reaver pushing you down. It's like Bisu's spending every mineral he has to try to kill you. Look at this. He's up 11 workers here in the little replay. He's up 11 workers. And, like, if he just has a second bunker, all of this stuff gets stuck. It becomes terrible, and you only have to deal with that Reaver. And, yeah, you're right. He should add a turret up here as well, and he doesn't. The shuttle does whatever it wants. That's a crazy loss, in my opinion. That's, like... It's so obvious. All of us know. Everyone's played this position so many times, you know?
Yeah, this is a pretty common cheese. It's pretty amazing that he just wins with it. Like, after it gets scouted. There are certain strategies where you just see it and you go, got it. That's all I need to know. I've already programmed my mind to know exactly what the next few steps are to hold this.
All right. Well, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. Guys, when we get back, the winner match, Bisu versus Light.
불 좀 켜줄래? 내 의자 좀 보게. 오늘 내 기분? 각도로 말할게. 이 바퀴 내 무게가 다 담아줄까? 하루만 네 의자에 메시가 되고 싶어. 알고 싶어 너의 커스텀 값. 만들어봐. 네 의자에 꿀려.
한 걸음 걸었던 멀리 떠나버려. I wanna get away from this. Trying to find myself in this difficult world. 찾으려 해봤자 전부 소용없음. I gotta be motivated, gotta be loved. 내일의 주변 사람들이 말하지. But I need my space, my life, and I'm in it now. I really think it's my time. I've been waiting patiently. 다시 내 지친 모습 거울을 보면 얼마나 더 클 수 있을까? 끝이 보이지 않아. 미라지 보는 곳에 향해. I really can't tell where I'm headed. I'm lost. Left the final note, find me on the high road. Searching for oasis, not escape. Searching for a haven. Tell me, do you feel the same? Here's my echolocation. So I'm changed. get away. I wanna get away, yeah. Killing me with questions, sorry I can't answer any of them. 부재중 전화도 받지 못해 cause I'm dealing with a little bit of worry. Some panic and overthinking 내 안에 시끄러운 잡은 소리밖에 안 들려. 최면에 걸린 나 흐릿해 현실과는 미래. Gotta make do with what I got. The question still standing, will I make it through? Wanna know the truth, 내가 이렇게 힘들어. 내 지친 모습 거울에 보면 얼마나 더 갈 수 있을까? 끝이 보이지 않아. 미라지 보는 곳에 향해. Feel the girl tower, I'm headed, I'm lost. Left to follow, no, find me on the high road. Searching for oasis, my escape. Searching for haven, tell me, do you feel the same? Here's my echolocation. My phone, I'm checking. Searching for oasis. Searching for oasis, my escape. Searching for oasis, my escape. Searching for haven, tell me, do you feel the same? Here's my echolocation. My phone, I'm checking. Searching for oasis. Searching for oasis, my escape. 어디까지나 알아. I'm not gonna be here all alone. 이미 늦은 것 같아도 no matter what I find my way. Searching for oasis, my escape. Searching for a haven, tell me, do you feel the same? Here's my echolocation, my sonar checking. Searching for oasis, searching for oasis, my searching for oasis, my
Thank you for your patience. We're ready to go into the match that I thought we were starting the day off with. I was right, just was at the wrong time. It's going to be Bisu versus Light.
Yeah, this is a fantastic match. I can't wait to see how this goes down. I definitely do favor Light here. I feel like Light is really second to none in this matchup. And as I say that, Troy is the map somehow. Wow. Wow, not what I expected at all. That's kind of crazy because Troy is an old map. This is a map that we were playing back in like 2006, 2007-ish.
Yeah.
And the main thing are all these assimilators. You guys have seen them on some other maps, but if you kill one assimilator, it only lets through small units, which would include Zealots, Marines, SCVs, probes. If you kill both, it becomes an island. So there could be early cheeses to try to get the assimilators. Obviously, if we get to late game and something like a recall occurs, you're going to be able to get those assimilators. You know, maybe we have some special strategies, maybe not. But if Terran can get into an okay position, the actual center of the map is pretty small, so it can be pushed relatively quickly from Terran.
Yeah. It's cool that this map is back in the mix. This was, I think, one of the braver moves of map makers, where it was both kind of a crazy idea, but also you could do a lot of really interesting stuff with this. So we're going to talk about that more when we get into the game itself. I agree with what you said, Artosis. Look, Bisu, this is one of the greatest players of all time, but Light is the favorite. Light's looking so good. I think in any given ASL, Light has got to be one of your top 3 picks. So
absolutely.
Can Bisu take it? It's possible. It wouldn't be the craziest upset. Certainly, Light should manage to come out on top here.
Well, let's see what openers they have, because Troy is a crazy map, and you can turn it on its head if you get one of those assimilators early on.
Yeah, Troy back in the map pick. I didn't really expect this map to come back. I thought if this was going to come back, it would be like it'd have that idea, but a totally new one. But hey, I welcome the decision here from AfreecaTV. We're going to go into Troy now, help you guys understand how this weird map works as we go into the third game here in Group A, Bisu versus Light. First person to survive, well, whoever survives this, I should say, will be going on to the round of 16. Okay, we've got Bisu in the top right. light in cross spawns all the way down in the bottom left.
Yeah, and, you know, this might be the one map where you actually want cross spawns against Protoss, because it's going to be harder for them to put any pressure on. It does look like we're going to have some sort of forward, maybe even center gateway from Bisu. Like, Tastosis, I gotta be honest, I didn't veto this map because I need to save vetoes for Dark Origin and Fighting Spirit, two of the worst maps ever made.
I know this trick. It's like, you know that they're probably going to veto that map so that you don't have to. It's like you're using their veto.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I have been shocked that no one has gone double proxy gateway, because you will kill the assimilators.
Yeah.
And then it's like Terran has a window of maybe 4 or 5 minutes where they might be able to win the game, maybe. And that's it. And I think Bisu's going to do this here, but honestly on the ladder, I haven't seen it. No one's even tried. It's so weird.
Well, you'll see it a lot now, don't worry.
Yeah.
It's an ASL. So, here, tag me in for a second. I want to try, if I can, try to explain these assimilators, because this is not something that's obvious to anybody. Even if you played a lot of StarCraft, and if you haven't seen this map before, you would not necessarily know that this feature of it. There's 2 neutral gas geysers. That doesn't look like it means anything, right? But if you kill, if those get destroyed, where the assimilator's not there, but the Vespian gas geyser's there, the map becomes an island. And so, what Bisu's attempting to do is to come in here and destroy that, and then isolate Light into this position where Light is playing on an island map position, and Bisu has full range of all of the bases, and he's on a land map.
Yeah.
And obviously, any player that's stuck on an island is at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why we have a certain level of map symmetry. Sure, there have been maps made where it's like, oh, this guy starts on an island, but this guy starts with a bunch of open terrain. You would always want to have the open terrain and free reign of the map. So the probe is going to come down here and see this. And to make matters a little bit more alarming, the barracks is on the outside of that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of the plan, to be able to maybe get a bunker up quickly, micro heavily here. But Light, I think he's already dead. I think we're watching a game that's already been decided by build orders. And Light just does not seem properly prepared here. Oh my god, he's going to lose that SCV. So more SCVs have to come. A lot of them drill up. The thing that he needs is a bunker. If he does not get a bunker up and soon, this game is going to end.
I love sending the one Zealot through into the main, basically cause a lot of problems down there. This is going to allow the other Zealots to come in here and punish each Marine as it comes out. He's going to set up for a flank. He can try to sandwich these Marines. He's going to whip around. SCV control very good, but again, every Zealot hit on a Marine is permanent damage. You're not going to have medics in this game, so it's really a strain on the Terran control-wise. You have to play basically perfectly.
Yeah.
And now there's 3 Zealots here. I mean, 4 Zealot hits will kill an SCV, and now we've got the 4th Zealot coming in now, although it looks like 1 Zealot is surrounded and killed off. I think you're probably right, Artosis. I think this game's done. Even the probe getting a kill.
No, this is just about it. It takes 3 Zealot hits to kill a Marine and 36 Marine hits to kill a Zealot. So when they get this many in your base, you have to have a perfect Sim City, and he simply doesn't have that. Not even going to go after the geysers. Bisu just going to straight up kill Light. GG. And again, I am like surprised by the games tonight. And I'm like, this is actually the build I expect to see every game, tasteless to the fact where I literally go 8 racks every game on this map so that I can stop something like that. So to see Bisu just do the most basic bro strat and kill Light immediately, and what we saw from C as well, we might have a lot of Terrans, tasteless, but they're not making great choices here today.
Yeah, this is a bad day for Terrans, man. Terrans are just dying to, I would say, not the most sophisticated rushes here. So, look, Bisu wins. Props to him. That's very exciting. And now it's going to be Light, you know, who I think should be able to get out. But let's see what C does. Let's see what Zealot does. Yeah, very, very fast match. I'm a little bit sad. I kind of wanted a long PVT with these 2 guys, but I guess we're not going to get it.
Yeah, it would have been fun. Even if Bisu had, like, killed the assimilators, that would have been fun. But when you see that barracks up there and there's, like, 1 Marine and you already have Zealots in his base, I mean, you can just rally the Zealots and kill him. You need to be able to hold the front, and he was completely unable to do that. Troy, a very, very tough map for Terran, and I think Bisu literally choosing in what in my opinion, the best strategy by far on the map.
Well, this is you playing the map, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's a very basic concept, right? I mean, you're trying to rush the entry position, and the fact that Terran has this stuff on the outside makes it even worse. You know, I mean, if the barracks was on the other side, maybe you could have Marines come out and at least block the you know, hit the Zealots firing over the assimilator, using your own SCVs to block it in there. But when the Marines are spawning on the outside, this run by that we saw Bisu do, this is how you beat a Terran that has a barracks scout like that. Because now he has to bring his Marines into his main to defend, but there's going to be these Zealots that are just so much stronger than the Marines coming in and beating up each Marine that rallies out. I mean, it's just a straight-up two-base rush. By the way, I don't think Bisu planned on this game ending with the rush like this. I think he probably did plan on killing the assimilators, isolating Light into his main, and then we would have a very uphill game for the Terran. But hey, man, sometimes you just show up and win when you're rushing, right?
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes they're doing exactly what it kills, and this was one of those cases. So, you know, I bet you if Light makes it forward in this tournament, he's not going to be vetoing Blitz Y anymore. He's going to be vetoing Troy.
Yeah. Good play there. We're going to go to interview now, see how Bisu's feeling.
You're watching the opening day of the AfreecaTV StarCraft League Season 17 as we have our first player to advance to the round of 16 in Bisu. Bisu, congratulations. Thank you. As quick and as decisive as things get, you've moved on to the next round of ASL. You've managed to advance to the round of 16 of every season since Season 11. And once again, you have touched down safely. How do you feel? Well, I didn't think this season would be that easy. My record in group stages can be shaky at times, and I thought to myself, well, can I do it? But once I beat C, I realized I could. Things seem to have gone well. Well, you managed to beat C in the first game, but in all honesty, it seemed you wanted to end things quickly, judging by your build of choice. Now, C succeeded in scouting your proxy, and it must have made you somewhat displeased. Is there truth in that? In pro gaming, we call that a 100-0 situation, where C was 100 and I was a 0, meaning I would only have one shot at making it work. Now that shot came when I realized C did not build a second bunker behind the first one. You took that one shot you're talking about once the Reaver spawned, and you managed to punch through. It seemed to embolden you to then go on and pick a very daring build in a double proxy 9-gate in the winners match against Light. Was that something you had in mind from the get-go? It was a build I came with originally. Now, Light is one of those Terran players who goes for a forward barracks in the natural, more often than not. So I thought, hey, if I do this, I could end the game very quickly. And I did do just that. Well, Bisu came prepared indeed, having analysed his opponents and picking the right builds to deal with their playstyle. We're all invested in seeing what you bring to the table in the round of 16. A huge crowd gathered here today to see you play. Perhaps we'll have this turn out for your next round as well. Do you have anything to say to your fans? I've been failing to get past the round of 16 in recent times, and I would really like to go past the round of 8. Whenever I get to play a best of 5 or a best of 7, like 2 years ago when I made it to the round of 4, well, I did lose to Light then. Regardless, I would like to feel that again. We're looking forward to witnessing your run this season. Congratulations one more. Thank you. And that gives us one player already in the round of 16. We'll be back with today's second place finisher in just a few. Stay tuned.
Here again, you told me you just wanna be friends, so I act like I don't understand. Go ahead now, be the man. Let's pretend I don't know about your little plans. Look so cute and innocent, but you're as lost as Peter Pan. Could drop the bomb instead. I told you whenever you need me, just call if you want to. 'Cause hey, that's what friends supposed to say. Minute after minute we fade, and I don't even know I stay. Watch me turning tides, now open your eyes to fade. So we fade. Minute after minute we fade, and I don't even know I stay. Got nothing to say, 'cause your face, that's why we fade away. Here we go, finally some rock and roll. Except that you're just a sinking stone, too hard to stay in control anymore. You got no clue, and that's your problem. I know you guess there's no other diamond. You still wanna be my friend. I dropped the bomb, you said what's wrong, babe? Scary how you still try to smile and deny it. Yeah, I'm sure your dad still thinks you're great. Minute after minute we fade, and I don't even know what I say. I got nothing to say, 'cause your face.
Buddy, it's time to go to the losers match and eliminate our first player of the season here at the ASL. This is C versus Zealot.
Yeah, and both of them very smartly eliminate Troy. We're going to be playing on Citadel here, another one of the new maps. This is a pretty cool one, and I'm looking forward to this match as well to see what C's defense will look like against Zerg, because ZeLoT for sure is going to play an aggressive game.
Yeah, I think so. We just saw C get up and step off stage, so he's going to be taking advantage of one of the breaks he's allowed to use. Look, it's been kind of a funny day, guys. It's been a lot of kind of straightforward all-ins, either working or not working. We haven't had a really dynamic day. I guess we have to have days like this so we can also have days where all the games are really different and interesting. But we've had two pretty straightforward, nearly uncomplicated Protoss all-ins that worked, and then we had a Zerg all-in that just backfired because Light made 5 bunkers.
Yes, exactly. Now we're going into Citadel. One of the interesting things, it is a 4-player map, but specifically on this map, there's no actual high ground. There's only little tiny strips of high ground with double ramps. So every ramp you see is the smallest ramp you can possibly get, where there's a ramp on either side and there's a very thin line of high ground. So that is... it's like really different from other maps like that. I'm digging the way they designed this map. It's really, really interesting the way that you have to move around it, the different advantages and disadvantages you get as well from these very weird small ramps. But I think in Terran vs. Zerg specifically, it's not like a huge deal. I think it makes a much bigger difference in, like, for instance, Terran vs. Protoss.
Yeah, this is a map that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. I think it's going to be a little bit. Certainly some games we cast here, some games I'll grind out on ladder. But again, I really like the map lineup overall for this season. I like that they brought in a lot of very different but playable maps. Maps that are now on the ladder as well. So this is an exciting time. There was a period where we had a little bit of, I guess, map atrophy. We weren't having new maps introduced onto the ladder. We had a couple new maps, of course, in ASL, but this season especially is exciting for this.
All right, we're ready to start. Let's do it. This is the losers match.
Okay, we begin. It's going to be C in the top right and Zealot in the bottom right.
All right, so, you know, I don't really know what way C wants to play a Terran versus Zerg. There's like a lot of options. You know, historically, back when C was in his prime, he was like one of the strongest players in the Pro League. He didn't really do well in individual leagues, but definitely showed up for his team overall. And this was his best matchup. He was really fantastic at macroing SK Terran. That's the superpower that I remember from him. But ZeLoT is not a player that you can just macro against. Like, you have to have a very precise defense against ZeLoT. Oh, it's a translator.
There's Ziggy in the audience. He's the guy who whose voice you hear when we have those interviews.
Yep.
He's been out in Korea for a couple of years now, getting a PhD in study of the Korean language. So
damn, PhD.
Really appreciate him helping us out. That's right.
Am I going to have to call him Dr. Ziggy?
Oh, yeah. We actually probably should call him that because I think he wouldn't like that. But
yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, C is a player that, like you were saying, Tastosis, he showed up for Pro League a lot. I think this guy is maybe like top 3 most charismatic pro gamers in ASL. Would you say that's fair?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One thing, you know, when you get pro gamer personalities, it's interesting. They're really all over the place. You'll meet people who are extremely shy, very antisocial, sometimes can't even make eye contact, all the way to extremely social. They're very gregarious.
Mm-hmm.
They want to, you know, have fun, go out, and you know, and C's definitely one of those players. It's no surprise he became a huge streamer when streaming took off in Korea.
Yeah, I know he's fantastic. I remember when I first moved to Korea, I actually. On a lot of his days off, I got to go and have beers with him, and that was really fun. He's a super social, cool dude. And, you know, again, like you said, no big surprise that he's become such a popular streamer. Taking a quick look at this game, first off, that is a fascinating wall-in. That is...
Yeah.
I'm actually getting shivers right now. I've literally never seen that. Because there's this thing where if you spawn in certain spots, your Marines pop out on the inside of a wall. Now, if you look at that, he actually can make it so his Marines have almost no surface area for Lings to attack. That is, I have to really think about that as like a wall that might be fantastic to use in certain positions like this. That is super, super, super cool. Also something
he's able to defend without a bunker, really, at least so far.
Yeah, I think it looks super neat. I'm looking at that. I'm actually getting chills because I'm like, oh, that is he might have solved the best way to wall in a position like that. That looks so cool. But by the way, just for ZeLoT, I just want to throw this in there real quickly. I know a lot about ZeLoT's play. I've seen so many of his games. Like you, I've casted a lot of his games on my YouTube channel. And honestly, a bunch of the NA Zergs just copy his builds nowadays. But he has made this new build against Terran where he goes 9 Hatchery, 9 Pool, 9 Overlord. And, like, you get a lot of larva very quickly, so it's kind of better against the 8 Raxes than a lot. And you can get your layer up very quickly with this as well.
Very interesting. By the way, the ramp that you go out of your base, it's like it goes up and then down. Is that correct? Is that the way
That's right. That's right.
that works? Okay. Then is there a point on the ramp that you can stand and you are officially on the high ground? Or, do you know how that works?
Yes, I do. Yeah, so there is a little tiny strip of high ground there. And that's it. It's like you can like put a tank there or a Dragoon there or whatever, and it will be on high ground. Which is like, yeah, that's the only high ground spots on this map are those double ramps. So it's more of a vision blocker than anything, but you can still utilize some high ground here as well.
Yeah, that's an interesting feature with this map.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, guys, for those of you that don't know, you do have a chance to miss when you fire up onto high ground.
Yeah.
From the low ground. So it's actually a pretty big deal to have anything on high ground when you're fighting something on the low ground.
Actually, I had a game the other day here, Tasteless, where I sieged 2 tanks on that high ground, and it was in range of cannons. I was like, shit! But then they killed all the cannons because the cannons missed so many shots. I was like, oh, sick. All right.
That's so funny.
Well, right now
we've got some rain.
Yeah, quite a move out
down here.
That's a. Let's just talk at the same time. Let's just both solo cast.
So let's just both. We're gonna. Oh, I mean, he should be fine versus this. He's got 2 sunken colonies. I don't think he needs a 3rd just yet. This is something we see all the time in this matchup, is basically coming out and trying to force lings or anything to defend.
And C has gone into a 3-racks play. He's got to get his turrets up like right now. That's really important. And look at where ZeLoT has taken his 3rd base. He's taken it at 9 o'clock, so that's incredibly hard to scout. And you only have so many scans, and you have to check text. So taking a base like that, it's actually in many ways against a build like C's safer than if, let's say, that you expanded to a regular 3rd base. Because there's no way C will check that and be able to send his Marines before the mutas are on the map.
Interesting. This SCV is going to be scouting. He's actually going to find the hidden base. That's pretty huge. I don't know what lurkers are like for Terran to deal with from a high ground, low ground to high ground to low ground ramp like this. I don't really have a relationship with these ramps yet, but is that just as easy for Zerg to defend as any other small entrance?
Yeah, you just put the lurkers back a little bit so that they're funneled down the ramp to attack. You know,
Okay.
It's just not a very wide ramp or anything, so you can't really utilize it in that way. But I don't think it'll go into lurker defense anyways. Like, ZeLoT putting a base down like that, I think this is going to be his standard Guardian Rush. And he is, like I mentioned before, actually the best Guardian Rusher in the whole world.
Yeah, it's cool to see him go for stuff like this, because we really don't have that many moments with Guardians. I guess I can think of like 1 or 2 games with Sulky that we've had that. But there have been eras of StarCraft and TVZ where the Guardian Rush was fairly common and pretty strong.
Yeah, and right now it is pretty darn good. And honestly, I don't like the way that C is playing this. He's way out front. He's playing a zoning game on the mutas, but you need to... Oh, this is huge, though. Hold on. He's running 2 Marines over to 9 o'clock. That is big. He's going to get minimum 3 drones, and ZeLoT has to deal with that.
Yeah, and the fact that he's stopped production of the, at that base, that's huge. I mean, at the very moment that the hatchery finishes, Zerg need to get as much, droning up as possible to get that 3rd gas coming in here. So that's a big play by C.
Yeah, that was super, super valuable for him. But he continues to kind of stay out front with his Marines. And, honestly, he's doing a good job picking off mutas. Between that and denying gas mining for quite some time at 9 o'clock, those are 2, very strong moves from C. C's putting out a good game.
Yeah, so far so good here. I will say that ZeLoT is doing a really good job at shaving these numbers down to Marines. We do have Valkyrie tech coming in here. We see the control tower being built along with the armory. Finally, we have a drone mining in that 3rd gas. It's so important here. We haven't really gotten a shot of the main here. Do we know if it's going to be Guardian tech? We were talking about it earlier. Okay, yeah, it is. There it is.
Yeah. Yeah, the timing of the...
Maybe we just have... Yeah.
The timing of the Queen's Nest is what gives it away. It's it's the fastest hive by a minute. So when you scan and see that, you're already 99% sure what it's going to be, especially when it's ZeLoT, since he does this literally all the time on the ladder. But yeah, he's going to come in strong with these, but C's build looks almost perfect. He's only got 1 Stargate for Valkyries, so it's going to be incredibly important that he pushes as soon as he has his Valkyrie out.
You guys might have noticed there's a Hydralisk Den, but there's no lurkers. The Hydra Den is just to make it look like there could be lurker tech. It is worth it to sacrifice that 1 drone just to have, the possibility that that's going to be coming there. But you see the Valkyrie came out a little bit ago, chased those mutas away. We're going to have these Guardians pretty soon, but obviously Valkyries are basically the counter to anything mass air here. He's going to have to figure out how to get Scourge or something there to hit those Valkyries.
Yeah, well, this is part of what the Hydras do as well, is you target down those anti-air units. Sometimes Zealot will end up making a single Devourer as well to help out if there's a lot of air units. And look, we're not hitting critical mass for C. He has the double Valkyrie, which is nice, but the Hydras are actually here to help tank. And look at that, he does bring out some Scourge. The Valkyries are going to run away from that. C is doing a good job putting pressure on, but I don't think he actually has a big enough army here to hit what we have from Zealot.
Yeah, the Valkyrie's taking a little bit of damage. These Scourge no, they actually do. They managed to connect there. Is there enough in mass here to fight what's left over here for Terran? I mean, that's kind of the problem right now. These Guardians are coming along. Is C going to stim and try to get under? No. He's going to go ahead and back up. In fact, maybe even try to beeline over to the natural or somewhere else on the map. Guardians are a little bit like carriers in that sometimes it's better to try to fight where they are not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can really run away from them for a bit, so it's good that he pushed him so far back because it gives him a lot of time to make more units. It's really all about critical mass against this build. You have to have enough to just chomp through everything at once. So right now the Guardian's pushing forward, the Mutas microing heavily here as well. Up comes another Valkyrie. I thought it was going to be picked off, but no, C is doing a great job and eliminating these Guardians.
Yeah, it seems like Zealot's kind of fallen apart here. He's never quite been able to get the right number of units together to take any of these fights. Now we've got just a few Hydras on the ground, 3 Guardians in the back, but the Marines, they might just have enough muscle to overpower this entirely.
Yeah, this is kind of funny to see the siege tanks in there as well. And you can see now, like, look at this. The Devourer is doing a good job keeping that Valkyrie busy. And the tanks, like, weren't that useful. That's actually, people used to deal with Guardian rushes by utilizing siege tanks to kill the Hydras way back in, like, 2007, 2008. So that's, like, a very antiquated way to look at that. Not necessarily wrong, but nowadays people prefer 2 starports to have more Valkyries.
So at this point in time, Terran is able to slip through here. Again, no lurker defense, so the Marines can basically roam uncontested. The Guardians can try to deal with this, but they got to get there first. And now we've got a lot of workers being killed here. C is looking to be in great shape. And honestly, losing the third base, that can be fatal here.
This is so brutal. Just outrunning those Guardians, really using his mobility against the slowest composition Zerg has. And, like, yeah, Zealot will clear this little army, but the Marines are so replaceable. You know, that third base is not. I think C is very close to just winning this game.
I do think, yeah, you're right. This game is probably almost over right now. Without a third base, and there's no real easy place to take a third base right now. The reason why the Zerg takes that base right over at 9 o'clock is it's an obscure location. The Terran might not scout it. Obviously, this game, the Terran did. But no, normally, if the game's going to go well for the Zerg, the Guardians would actually be pushing into the Terran. Right now, it's the other way around. The Guardians are morphing back at the natural as a defense. And so I would imagine that, you know, if C just keeps the pressure on, there's not a whole lot that the Zerg can do.
Yeah, he's trying to mass up Guardians. Like, if he gets enough, maybe there's some way to chunk through the Marines really quickly from a good position. The thing is, with 3 Valkyries, like, you really have to take that seriously. I think he does have a Devourer. Yeah, he has a couple of them in there, so those will help out without a doubt. Notice how he is trying to target those down, but there's so many Marines, I'm not sure any of this really matters.
Yeah, it seems like the Marines alone can probably win this fight. The Valkyries are just trying to fight these Devourers. But yeah, I mean, things are just beginning to fall apart here. The Marines can be replenished so easily. I think that's it. Yep, GG. C wins that game and will now be going up against Light in the final match here of Group A.
Hey, man, I'm happy for C, but I do feel for Zealot. C showing that he can win a game at the ASL level, which is great, and I think he played a fantastic game. It was cool to see the tanks. I don't feel like they did that much, but it's cool to see that older style being mixed in. Zealot obviously frustrated. He really does practice all the time. He's super good, top of the ladder, but it wasn't enough here tonight.
He played a very sharp style, trying to come in and close the game out right as we would get into mid-game, but reality is the Terrans he fought were just ready for what he was going to do. A lot of what, Zealot's doing comes down to the other player just having the prep and knowing how to navigate the game.
Yeah, very, very well said. Like, if you kind of know what he does going in, you can be a little bit more prepared for it and have a strategy specifically for this. This was a really important moment right here, as you can see. Like, he did pick off the Volks. I actually started to think that Zealot was going to be okay, but C's push had just enough. Like, just enough.
There's a period where both the armies are fighting, and you're thinking, okay, one of you is wrong. You can't both win this. You're out in the middle of the map clashing. Somebody should be back, or trying to retreat, or somebody's overextended. And it turns out, as time passed, it was Zealot. So, look, man, it was a great series. It was fun to have him in the tournament. Like we were saying before, this guy's been really active on the ladder. We've been following him pretty closely, and it is good to have these newer faces here in the ASL. It's kind of a reminder to everybody that, StarCraft competitively, it's not just the people that are in ASL playing all the time. It's the people right below them and the people right below those people that are keeping this competitive and forcing these guys to figure out new ideas and builds. And so I guess it's not the craziest thing that he went out 0-2, with everybody else in this group being such a veteran. But I think he had a pretty good showing anyways.
Yeah. I think he showed his own unique style. That was tough. I think the 2 Marines that found 9 o'clock, that was a crucial moment. Losing all those drones, he just has far less units. Anyways, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, the final match of the night, Light versus C.
Pay me my respect, collecting every debt. Oh, the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what she used to. It's all part of the game.
불 좀 켜줄래? 내 의자 좀 보게. 오늘 내 기분? 각도로 말할게. 이 바퀴 내 무게가 다 담아질까? 하루만 네 의자에 메시가 되고 싶어. 알고 싶어 너의 커스텀 값. 만들어봐. 네 의자에 꿀려.
That you got to know, this is only the beginning. You never know where you may go, so hold on to the highs while you're alright, cause you know you're gonna come down, just a matter of time, and you will find everything comes back around, comes back around, comes back around, back around, comes back around, comes back around. So hold on to the highs while you're alright, 'cause you know you're gonna come down. Just a matter of time and you will find everything comes back around. Comes back around, comes back around, back around. Comes back around, comes back around. Fever, dreaming, burning up until I get you to give me a reason to cool down, to calm down. Don't freak out over this relationship, so toxic, so get me out.
And we are back. Hello, everybody. We're going to close today out with a Terran versus Terran, Light versus C. And look, I think we all agree Light is probably supposed to take this, but maybe he doesn't. It's a best of one. Anything can happen in a best of one.
Yeah.
We already start this season without Queen. You had a couple ASLs where, like, in the first one or two groups, something crazy happens. One of our best players gets eliminated. Let's keep that a possibility in our minds as we go into this match.
Yeah. If C were to upset Light, I think a lot of players would be really, really happy about that. And honestly, I think C would probably be the first pickup for everyone in the round of 16, right? When you're choosing your groups. I definitely favor Light here, but it's Terran versus Terran. There are some sharp all-ins. There are some risky things you can do. You never know. It could be a vulture war and you screw up one little thing and you're super far behind. So, yeah, I mean, I don't want to make a prediction too strongly. I do think Light's going to win, but C has some chances here.
Yeah, there is a possibility he takes this. But, you know, Light is such a powerhouse, man. I think Light is maybe the best player that when he's behind or he's uncomfortable, he's the guy, it's a little bit Flash-esque, able to just play the safe game, you know? Play very standard. Very reaction-oriented, not really coming into the game with a bigger, grander plan, but just kind of reading his opponent, trying to sidestep whatever comes his way, and ultimately getting ahead that way. So I think this will probably be a pretty long TVT unless he decides to cheese. And I think if Light wins, it's going to be just through, you know, sticking with everything, not making any mistakes, and playing a very careful game because his tournament life is on the line.
All right, we're going into Retro. Let's get this one started.
Okay, both players on the right side, Light on the bottom, C on the top. Now, the map is retro. I feel like I liked this map more until I played it a lot. And now I feel like I like it less and less. Like,
yes.
And that might say more about me and map itself, but I've had so many frustrating games on this map.
It's a frustrating map. I'm completely 100% on board with you with this entire assessment.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I was the only person who had that take on it, where it looks in some ways structurally a lot like Fighting Spirit, and that you have this third base that's kind of out of reach from anybody but you. Like, you can pretty easily take a third base, but the fact that these pathways to the third base take up so much of the map itself, and even if you listen to the older casts, I talked about how big and open the middle was. It's not as big as you think it is.
Yeah.
It's almost like a, I don't know, is optical illusion the right word? It looks like it's massive, but when you play, you realize it's a pretty tight and constricted area. So you got to be very careful with your pathing. There's a lot of moments where you can accidentally, you think you're sending stuff to their base through the middle, and they're going to go through the sides.
Sure.
In fact, if you right-click, for things to scout, they'll take the path on the bridges. They don't go through the middle. So, I mean, this is just some stuff to point out. There's a lot of weird things on this map. I think TVT can be pretty punishing. Talk about center control being important. It's really important on this map.
Oh, yeah. Now, if someone gets in front of, like, no one goes all the way to the natural on this map, but if you can trap someone in their quadrant, you have a huge, huge advantage. It's so gangly trying to move a big Terran army around through the sides of the map, through those like third base locations, 12, 6, 3, and 9. Like, try moving 3 groups of tank vulture through there. It'll take you so long that your opponent can do anything they want in that time. So, battle for the center of the map is incredibly important. One thing to mention here is C is going for a barracks expand, the gasless expansion here, which is very, very fast, whereas Light is going for a factory expansion, but Light is going to scout C last. So when you scout them last, without a doubt, C is going to have a bit of an advantage here.
So the fact that C, fundamentally should just be a weaker player in TVT, right? He should just be a player that's going to have a little bit of a harder time with the tit-for-tat of TVT, of map control, of dropping, of trying to, pound them with vultures. If you're C, Artosis, and you're against a player like Light, how do you want to try to approach this game? Because Light just seems like he, anything you do to him, it's like water off a duck's back.
Well, I think here, as he's scouting what builds are going on, C's big decision is, does he want to do something high risk, high reward, or does he want to just utilize his economic advantage? Because he does have that economic advantage. Like, getting this expansion up this quickly is really, really good. That's actually really good by Light. Trading 2 Marines for 2 Marines here is better for the factory expander, because you have to remake those, which is going to slow your second factory for C. So Light already is kind of doing some things really well. I don't know what C's level of confidence is, what his plan is here. Like, does he want to go tank Wraith? Does he want to do something crazy like 2-port? Does he want to cut SCVs and go mass vulture? There's a lot of options for C based on how confident he is or is not.
What exactly happens when you're both sharing the side of the map in TVT? Like, how does this end up working out? Is it ever good to try to take that middle base on the right, or is that, like, to be avoided? How does Terran player think about that?
Yeah,
retro.
The 3 o'clock should probably go towards C. It's a little bit closer to him. But it gets actually hard to hold, because, like, let's say they both have their units in the center. Light can very quickly bring enough siege tanks to break a 4 or 5 siege tank defense at 3 o'clock, right? Like, you bring 12 tanks over there, and +2 isn't done, you will break through that type of defense, and C will have a hard time getting into position. So it's kind of like a tough base to defend and to take. Honestly, I feel like maybe just set that up as like a slight no man's land. You can't really let Light take it, but like taking it yourself could be dangerous. So I feel like C will want to take 12 o'clock as his third and just control the center of the map. But that could allow Light to maybe think about utilizing that position as well.
I like the vultures coming in here and getting kills on the SCVs. It looks like there's only 1 Marine in there, and the vultures don't have to respect 1 Marine. When I was learning this game as a kid, I remember whenever I saw a bunker, I wouldn't engage with it at all, because it's like such a beefy, tough building. Then when you realize it's just 1 Marine or 2 Marines at times, you're like, oh, you can just ignore it. It doesn't do that much damage, and you can still get in there and get the hits you need.
Yeah.
So good play there to get those SCV kills. I really like that for Light. Light's got his tank and Marines out. Did have a Wraith that was made. That's somewhere on the map. I'm not sure where right now. But I don't think he should be trying to move out on the map here. I mean, I'm looking at... C has that. I think I said Light had that. I think I flipped him in my head for a second, guys. Sorry. But Yeah, I think C has to be careful if he moves out on the map too much. There's going to be a lot of mines out here, a lot of traps that could be laid, where I think C could be punished.
Well, C here, if I had to guess, I think he's going to go to 5 factory really, really fast. I don't see an add-on going for the starport, so I think it's going to be 1 to 2 Wraiths to force Goliath to force scan, and then into 5 factories really quickly, trying to take some map dominance. I think that that is the best way for him to play this. Like, you don't have to move out too quickly, but you can definitely get into those additional factories quickly. Especially considering you see the amount of damage he's already put down this Rax, and you can see Light fighting him for that, because Light doesn't want to lose his barracks. He wants to have the flexibility of adding factories when he wants.
I feel like I've seen a lot of games where if C's mismatched, he'll go for like mass factory on 2 bases. Even like TVP even. A lot of really, like, if he's uncomfortable or he's not sure he's the favorite, he's going to rely on powering on 2 bases and trying to strong-arm the opponent in the middle of the game.
It's a good way to play. Oh my god, he goes 3 add-on. Okay. Okay, so we're starting to figure out what's going on in this game. This is a really interesting choice from C. So C basically went 2 Wraith, no add-on there, so no cloak or anything. He's just trying to force Goliaths. And now his entire aim is to get so many siege tanks that he can just make siege lines that can't be killed. That is what he's planning on here. 3 add-ons this early into the game. This is like, I hesitate to call it cheesy, but it kind of is in a way. It slows down your other factory adds immensely. It gets you out of any possibility of flying units for a while. It's going to slow your upgrades, and you're literally just making big siege lines. So, you know, if Light sieges here, like where we see his units going up and just kind of does a Light contain, we're not going to have enough units from C likely to break out.
Yeah, it's a kind of smart approach. You know, you make just a couple Wraiths, and that does force them to make Goliaths. They have to respect that tech, excuse me. But then you end up with so many more tanks that you can get to these really punishing positions. We see 1 tank sniped already. Light goes ahead and returns the favor. So from Light's perspective, we need to see him keep his tanks alive for as long as possible. If he has some kind of screw up where he drops 3 tanks, get very good for C. He can really take advantage of the position.
C is playing really smart right now, like taking the center as quickly as possible with those tanks. Like this is the most crucial part of the game, is them jockeying for position in the center, because Light already saw that it's 3 add-ons. So Light will not miss a beat. He will make at least 2 factory add-ons non-stop with his tanks, where C is going for 3. So as long as Light maintains a reasonable siege tank count, he should be able to hold the center. So this is going to turn into like a very big, very long game quite quickly.
Yeah, we're already seeing the lines get drawn out here. And let's just say, if we could like imagine fast forwarding this game, that these positions are not going to be broken, and they might not be broken for a while. Most important bases will now become center right and the center left, because there's ambiguity about who gets those. Like we just now see C setting up over here. For instance, 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, those bases are essential, but fundamentally they're uninteresting to the game, because it's unlikely those are going to be the contested positions that are fought over, right? I mean, maybe you could get a drop over there or something, but as we continue to develop in this game, we really want to watch those 2 side bases. If one player can get both of them, they're basically just going to win in a macro game.
That's very true. If you really get into that split map scenario, those are the fringe bases that truly do have questions about them. Now each side is taking their 3rd base. Light built his on location, and you can see this is the type of move I was talking about before. If you try to take up here, they just bring more than you have and siege it up and kill it really, really fast. So kind of a tough thing there for C. Like, he loses 2 tanks. They don't end up doing anything, and now suddenly Light has the high ground there. That's uncomfortable. Light is like already winning. It's
kind of cool because
yeah.
Sorry, man.
No, it's fine.
I just gonna say, like, you know, you can see that there's a little bit of fight over the territory, but not as much commitment to it. Although, as I say that, we have the 9 o'clock spot. So he's gonna try to gobble that one up.
Well, that's really funny because he's thinking exactly what you were talking about, where 3 and 9 are the important ones. So he's like, oh, you took 3? Okay, I'm taking 9 right now. But C is double expanding off 3 factories. He's leaving himself open to Light having some sort of timing to kill him. Like, I'm looking at this game right now, and if I know Light, he's playing this theoretically correctly. He's going up to 7 factories on 3 bases. And this is going to give him a gigantic unit lead in a minute or 2 here.
You want to be watching the dropships too here. If dropships can get anywhere, whether that's to just drop in the middle of the map to open that up or to break into one of these positions, that's going to be really important. Light's going to be pushing down here, and he does take out one of these tanks, so this is very clearly going to be Light dominated here. 3 o'clock. I don't think he wants to push further than this, but this is going to give him an easy position to set up, throw a command center down. And speaking of which, look at how many more command centers there are being made right now. There are 3 extra command centers in this game for C.
Yeah.
Light has not mass expanded. He's controlling positions. He's not sucking up resources from them. So if I'm seeing this correctly, there should be a moment where Light is going to have a bigger army for a small period of time and be able to lash out and see on the map. But if he doesn't do that, if he doesn't pull that off, if Light is a little bit slow to try to take control of this game, C is going to catapult ahead with an income.
Yeah, that's C's whole strat here, is to like just mass up his SCVs, get like every base on his side of the map immediately. But like I said, you're doing this off of 3 factories. That's scary. You can see Light right now is up 20 supply. He's got a lot of factories. And the thing is, like, now that he's got his production going, you will see Light take his whole side of the map. That will occur, but he's already got his production, whereas C this entire time is just on 3 factory siege tank.
It's kind of a cool way to play here from C. I like it.
Dude,
wow, he's going to go right into BCs?
That's hilarious.
This is early.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You never get BCs this soon.
Dude, this is like a ladder match that I'm watching right now. Like, C is playing the most greedy game ever, and he's saying, screw it, man, it's hard to break siege tank lines. You kill me, or I'm going to win. And so
hungry hippos?
Yeah.
This is greedy hippos, man.
Dude, greedy and hungry and teching all at the same time. He's a Protoss player. Oh, my God. Now, Light is attacking over at 9 o'clock. He's got to keep the pressure on. He sees what's going on, and he can't let C get all these bases and go BC. Like, that just, you instantly lose if you allow that to occur. And you can see how he's starting to attack. Dude, like, I don't think C has enough units to hold all these positions. This is why you don't do this. This is why you go 7 factory on 3 base.
This is a really sneaky way to approach the game, but the fundamental build that Light has will let him probably beat this. He's already wiped out the 9 o'clock position. The middle of the map is not looking that beefy. The fact that he's going for battlecruisers 2 means that he's, any tanks that are killed off, he's not going to recover as quickly.
Yeah.
And so I think we're going to see him actually, I should say Light actually move through and probably push and start to wipe these positions out. Normally we see starports for the battlecruisers thrown down after both sides have basically cemented their positions. No longer makes sense to try to just mass drop everywhere or push with tanks, and your resources start to really pile up. And so then you go for battlecruisers. But while he's in the middle of teching these battlecruisers, he could very well just lose this game.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I don't mind the strategy C has brought here because no one ever does this, and in theory it shouldn't work, but in practice it may. The one thing I need to point out is I think he just was a bit too greedy, like taking 9 o'clock. If instead he had put those tanks back in a more defensive position at other bases, I could see this working out really well because battlecruisers are the thing that actually breaks bases. So why is he taking half the map? Let Light take that and then kill it.
Yeah, now this drop is going to come in here. I think that C can probably cut this off. Keep in mind, Light is about to be maxed out. C has been hovering between 130 to 150 supply. And look, even though he deals with that drop in the main, you can see the push in the middle of the map is too good. C has completely lost control of this game.
He doesn't have...
this is wild.
How he has so few units.
You ever see... Yeah, I mean, one Terran have this much freedom to move around the map, go wherever he sees fit. This is crazy.
Yeah, Light has some serious map control right now. And he is moving up. He's going to be able to kill off 12. Good thing he couldn't get to the main. I think we have 2 battle cruisers on the way, which could clear something like that. You know, if C can hold top right, the 2 bases in the top right and the 2 bases in the top left, there is potential to retake 12 o'clock with the battle cruisers and tanks, and then retake 9 o'clock and play a long game.
You know, this is... when you've lost this much of the map, and this isn't a map where, like, you know, a normal battlecruiser game where a lot of it's mined out and you know, there's a lot to fight over. I think even if he gets enough battlecruisers, they're going to be too slow to go anywhere and take care of everything.
Yeah, it'll have to be like a
2
really...
out now, he's going to have 6 later.
It'll have to be a really prolonged game, right? Like, I feel like that's the only way, but Light is making starports in the bottom left. So he might just be able to, you know, make his own battle cruisers and win that way too. But Light continues to deal damage. He's killed a ton of SCVs. You can see C is really struggling for gas right now.
I have never seen a game where a position is this bad. A game where it looked like it was kind of even. It really shows you the decision-making from C. I mean, there is some logic to it, but it's not going to work against a style that's just very, very solid. Like we have here with Light. There it is, GG. He just taps it. He knows this game is far, far gone. There's no way to recover. I like the setup with the mass tanks. I like him controlling the map. I even like the 3 extra command centers. Did not like the battlecruisers, Tastosis.
No. Like, again, I think if he had been a little bit less greedy with that, centralize his defense around top left and then also in the mid, instead of also trying to take 9, maybe that starts to look different. But Light hit exactly how he needed to. A lesser player may have just traded inefficiently and lost. But Light knew how to bring all of his army together to break certain positions, to keep pressure on with drops. Honestly, I'm a bit nervous. Now that Terran players have seen C play, that's going to be something that's hard for lower-level players to stop, like Light did.
Yeah. No, I think that's a way to play TVT that you could really rank up on the ladder with.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't even be obvious to a lower-level player what's happening until it's already happened.
Yeah.
You know, just 3 factories, control the map, and then snag all those bases. I think we would have had a better game if we just had, you know, 5 more factories thrown down from C.
Yeah. He
just tries to hold it. But instead, battlecruiser play is almost like a win more move.
It is. Well, yeah. If he can just take half the map, it's like even. But the fact that he's trying to do that while going BCs, honestly, you're right. If he just adds 4 factories, he can expand at the same time Light did to the other bases and be totally fine. But, you know, I think he wanted that edge. I think he's not confident playing the longer standard macro game. So I don't blame him for what he tried here. It was kind of a cool idea. But Light, he knows how to stop everything.
So the 2 players we expected to move on do move on, Bisu and Light. We're going to go to that interview and see how Light is feeling.
We've just wrapped up our games for the opening day of ASL 17, as Light grabs a 2nd place seed into the next round. Congratulations. Thank you. Overcoming the disappointment of last season, you've once again shown up in full force today as you punch your ticket to the round of 16. How do you feel? It seems a long time since I've made it into the round of 16, so I'm feeling rather happy. I was very nervous going into today's game, so thank God things went well. Well, the nature of best of ones in the round of 24 would make any man nervous. With how close the matches can get. Now, in your pre-game interview, ahead of the match with ZeLoT, you emphasize the fact that you can't let your guard down at any point. It seems you somewhat expected lurker play from ZeLoT with how well you blocked it, going to such lengths as building 6 bunkers. What went through your head in that game? I actually thought he would not play lurkers, because his Mutalist control is just so on point. I was more focused on being ready for Muta play. Now, I actually got a little flustered by his Overlord drop fake out. I think now that I think about it, I saw it happen and alarms went off in my head for a second. I thought that would I thought that would spell my end. Well, still, you maintained your composure in that first game against Zealot, and you moved on to the winners match, where, alas, you got shaken down by Bisu, and luck just didn't seem to be on your side. It turned out to be a very mixed experience for you in this round of 24. Well, I actually didn't think we would end up playing on Troy, and wasn't prepared for what was coming. I didn't prepare for that eventuality, so there really was no way for me to not lose. But nevertheless, you drove it home in the elimination match where you beat C, and you're now moving on to the round of 16. You mentioned you would like to make it to the grand final once again. Can you feel a fair wind blowing in your favor? Well, whenever games start going well, I can't help but feel that a grand final run could be in the cards, so I'll try and make it happen this season again. Now, looking at your online record in recent weeks, or in recent times, your TVT win rate is as high as 70%, and we do have a host of Terrans in the ASL this season. Now, this seems to be playing straight into your hands. I can see you're smiling just as I mentioned that. Well, thinking about my TVTs in ASL, I think I've only been losing to Rush and Flash. I think, in all honesty, TVZ is more difficult in a tournament setting. As long as I focus on my TVZ, there is hardly any player I would be afraid of. Well, we are seeing a fearless light this season. The fans are likewise looking forward to seeing you perform well. Any words for them? I will lift the trophy again this season. Looking forward to it. Congratulations. And that does it for the opening day of ASL 17, with Light advancing through in second place.
Tastosis, day one is done. We had a lot of, oh no, not the most exciting games. We had a lot of games that were kind of centered around ending the game at a certain point in time. I did enjoy that final TVT though. That was really interesting. I'm actually really grateful I got to see that strategy used. I've never really seen that before.
Yeah.
And even though C's not going to make it, it was cool to see what he tried to do against who is basically the strongest Terran we have right now in the ASL.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I think C actually showed that he has a high level of play right now, so good for him getting third place in that group. But, you know, these are the results that we kind of wanted, right? Bisu and Light getting out. It was great to see, you know, Bisu have 2 cheeses and just win instantly. Definitely in good shape. Our next matchup going to be a Group B. Hero, Killer, Mind, and Stork. I think this is a deceptively strong group.
Yeah, this is going to be so fun. I cannot wait. Stork, how's he going to play, man? This is one of the 4 StarCraft gods, but, you know, he's not in the same kind of condition he was. Like you know, like the hopes that we have for Bisu as an example. Mind has brought incredible form. Hero is always a guy you could expect to advance deep into an ASL. He's in great shape, and Killer is a real threat. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Killer is really underrated, to be honest. So, can't wait for that. Going to be fantastic. Hope you guys have been enjoying. Again, if there's anything like you feel like audio levels or something like that aren't quite correct, do let us know in the comments or just try to message me directly. And we are trying to make ASL come out as quickly as possible and as high quality as possible. So thank you everyone so much for subscribing on the Patreon. That's patreon.com/ASL English.
Sign up for a year if you could. That would help us a lot. I know this is not an event that's on every month, but sign up for a year makes a huge difference for us. We would not be able to do this without you guys. We really appreciate you guys. We love you. And it's good to be back, Tastosis.
It is indeed. Happy to be here, guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in Group B.